Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on a little bell on the side. So once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Okay, now today is actually the 7th of July 2021 and I'm here to actually update you with the Victorians skill migrations criteria. Obviously, I've got that news last week. They have provided what they call a target sector, which I have briefed about last week. Now, today we have all the detail, and I'm here to actually get you all this. So, are you interested about migrate to Melbourne? This video is right for you. Okay, now let's jump into the actual web page where the Live in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia's, which is the state government authority website, provide all the detail. Now, the first page, I would like to take you to actually have a look at the BIP, the investment and business investor visa for Victoria. Obviously, the skill migration has been updated. Now, I'm just checking also with the criteria for the business investment visa. Now, although there is no notification saying it's been discontinued or it has now newly opened, but from what I can see here, it still looks like they haven't updated yet. So this is still the old one. So I will say the business investment visa now is not updated yet, so it's not valuable at this point in time. So we'll come back and check this out. So I'll have a newly updating video for that one later on. Now, let's jump into the detail of the skill migration. So target sector is the vital point of what the state government of Victoria will be seeking for. So let me read them out again. So in order to be invited, to be selected, that's what they call, to apply for skill visa nomination, you must currently working in one of the target sector using your STEM skills. So again, they have a different definition of STEM because they had double M at the end. I don't know why don't they just follow this, the general STEM. Anyway, if you're seeking for 190 nomination or work in digital sector, please note that we are currently only selecting cybersecurity and some of the software developer working in the health sector. So that's what we had a prompt last week as well. So applicant using STEM skill in the business precinct will be highly regarded. So you have to be in the STEM, and if you're working already in these areas, so Docklands, Footscray, and Parkville, then that will adding. So obviously your employment contract is going to be vital, and your employer's website will be vital because it will show the location, whether or not you're working there. So if you're already working in those sectors, then that will be the best. So what are the STEMs? It will be health sector. So that's pretty self-explanatory. So medical people, doctors and things, physicians, and for nurses, only to be considered working in, for example, you do not necessarily need to be working health occupation, except for example nurses, but nurses still working in the health sector. I'm not too sure why they said that, but anyhow, and that's what they wanted to have. So health sector considers professional work in medical services Victoria, as well as involving educational research and development. So again, there's a lot of biotech and things like that, but this will correlate with the medical researchers. So I'll get into that later. And the nursing applicants, please know they're nominated in specific specialization. For more information, we'll go into the 190 and 491 criteria in this video today. I didn't get that done because they haven't announced yet, so I don't have that detail, but today we have that detail. Okay, medical researchers. In addition to medical researchers conducted in university and research institutions, Victoria's medical researchers include activities in drug development, clinical trial, health, product manufacturing, medical devices, and digital health. If you're using STEM skill to support medical researchers in Victoria, you are considered working in the medical research sector. So if you're a tech, but you're working, for example, some apps or algorithm to AI to find out some drugs or whatever medical terms and things that you'll be considered as a medical researcher. So okay, anyhow, this is getting more complex and complicated. The reason I'm saying that is the federal government, the Commonwealth of Immigration, they define their terms. Now, because they're given a lot of rights and a lot of authority to the state for state nominations, now the states are defining their own terms. So for instance, yesterday I was doing Western Australia's, they have WASMO, remember? Now Victoria have STEM. Everybody have different criteria and different definitions. So they are now defining medical digital tech people. If they're working in medical, they are sort of in medical field. Anyway, that's how the state of Victoria, and that's the reason why I have this channel to make things more transparent, because it's just too confusing. Anyway, so life sciences. Okay, Victorian life science sector encompasses many industries such as medical technology. Now, see, I thought medical tech is right up here in medical research. Anyway, what is your thought? It's confusing. Anyway, biotech, pharmaceutical companies involve food processing, nutraceutical, cosmeceutical may be considered as form part of the life science sector. If you're using STEM skill support Victoria science sector, you consider working in life science sector. For example, lecturer in biotechnology working in university, considering working in life science. Okay, anyway, I'm not too sure why they don't want to follow the ENS code and the skill occupation list, which has been widely applied and used for 20 years. I'm not too sure how state government of Victoria thinks. So this is all new. It's getting more and more confusing. All right, digital. The digital sector makes the use of technology innovation to drive economic growth, productivity, and competitiveness in Victoria. Currently, we are only selecting cybersecurity skill to apply subclass 190. So that means for 190 it's only cybersecurity. All the other digitech 491. Okay, applicant without cybersecurity are seeking for a 190 nomination may still be selected if they are. They have sectors related to above health, medical, or life sciences. Okay, that's what they're trying to say. Applicant working in the segment of digital sec will be considered selecting subclass 491 and agri-food. Okay, now agri-food in Victoria include highly skilled people working in developed food growth and productions, as well as modernization of Victoria's agri-food sector. Okay, so that's almost like agricultural 4.0 and also productions. The production may means a different way, putting food in a can or putting food as a fresh, organic packaging and things like that, or making the food into powder form, liquid form, whatever it is, as long as it's food consumable by human, it's agri-food. To be considered a section applied nomination, you must be using STEM skill, using their STEM skills in innovative with sector, which will include research and development, advanced manufacturing. Now that's interesting. So I'm not too sure how they will derive that, but you just need to show it, I think. So that's what they're trying to say. Okay, advanced manufacturing. See, the confusing part here is, how would Agri-food end up with advanced manufacturing? I'm not too sure why they're trying to, and they got advanced manufacturing down here. Probably if you're working in Victoria state government, probably can provide us some explanation. I'm just a bit of confusing these areas. Now, Victoria's advanced manufacturing sector include industries such as defense and aerospace. To consider to be working at advanced manufacturing, you must be using your STEM skill, enhance innovation. This could include activity in research, development, design, applied supply chain, increasing global competitiveness using these technologies. So that's pretty fair. I'm just not too sure how Agri-food will using your STEM skill and then somehow connect to advanced manufacturing. Anyway, new energy and emission reduction, circular economy. This sector includes clean energy, renewable bioenergy, carbon captures, and energy storage. Applicants using their skill support to reduce waste, cut pollution, and protect environment. So this is pretty straightforward. All right, now let's go into the criteria, shall we? So subclass 190 obviously is the most preferred state government nominated program, because it gets you into permanent residency straight away. Now make sure, because today Victoria is open, so you need to get your EOI done. Obviously, before EOI, you need to get your IELTS and skill assessment done. Put your EOI in, and then you need to put your ROI for Victoria in, which is the application for the state nomination. Okay, let's go into detail. Here we go. 190 is a permanent residency, so we don't need to stress too much about that. Using your STEM skill. Again, I'm not too sure why they keep on trying to say that, but basically STEM skill is your qualification and your background. Okay. You must receive nomination. That's pretty sure. Before you read on, you need to check out the immigration thing. So I've got all that done previously. Who can apply? Okay. You can check out my previous video in regards to general 190, but I assume that most of people will know about this already. If not, do more research, and my channel does provide a lot of information there too. To be eligible to apply Victorian skill nomination, you must have had this is what I just said, registration of interest. So you need to put that application in. I'm gonna just quickly click on that, and we can check out that application, how that application look like. And you need to be living and working in Victoria. Now that's very important, because that basically answers that they only want onshore applicant, and especially people already in Victoria. So offshore, and not at this point in time. Okay, sorry. Working in the Victorian target sector. So we have gone through the target sector already, and you need to be under 45. Competent English, so that's IELTS 6 across 4 bands. Skill assessment, that's what I said, 65 points. Now, interestingly, there is no specification required to show that how many years or months you've already been working in your target sector or as your occupation, like the previous criteria. So as long as you're in a target sector and you're living and working in Victoria, boom, beauty, you're done. Okay, and how do you apply? That's what I just said. It's repeating what I just said. So you make an EOI and put an ROI in, and basically they'll contact you for all the supporting document. Once that's all done, you'll be notified that it's all good, approved, and you can apply for your visa. What you need, that's all the documentation. So I'm not gonna stress too much about this. Now, let's check out how the ROI looks like. So registration of interest, there's not much of information. So you can put, you can update and withdraw. You cannot update ROI once it's submitted. So it's different than EOI. Now EOI can be updated. So make sure you get everything correct before you put in your ROI. you can only have one active ROI. So unlike EOI, where generally, technically, I've been helping my client putting multiple EOI for different states and for different type of applications. So 491 and 190, I can have multiple, but Victoria does not allow that to be done. So you can only have one, and you cannot submit a separate ROI for each subclass. You need to pick the right one. Okay, how do I submit ROI? Well, that's pretty easy. You just click on the link, put in your details. It's almost the same as EOI, just different looking. Anyway, now talking about looking, I think the Victoria government's website is looking much better than the Western Australia one. Anyway, okay, now let's jump into the last topic. Will be the 491. So remember, for the Digitech, they only accept cyber security. Other people, for example, software engineer, programmers, ICT analysis, business analyst, you can only go through 491. All right, now I'm not too sure what this is. I'll click on that and have a look. Now, who can apply? Let's check out again. Okay, to be eligible, you put your ROI in, and you need to be live and working in regional Victoria. We'll have a look what regional Victoria, the definition of regional Victoria is. And you got to be working in the target sector, under 45, complete English, skill assessment, and minimum score. So that's pretty easy. Now, again, there is no specification about how long your work experience is required, like the previous one. So it looks like quite open, but again, it shows that they are not going to accept any offshore applicants. So they have detailedly selected those onshore and currently working, month and years. Now they are looking to accept those one who are still there working, but not enough work experience. So they'll just take them all. That's how I feel about it. How to apply? It's the same, and what you need, it's the same here. So let's check out. I've just clicked on the actual detail overview. Your work, you're currently working, casual is fine. Closely related, will not accept employment that's not related to you. Target sector, so this applies the same for 190. I'm just gonna jump back a bit for 190 and click on that link to see if there's any differences there. Occupation, so that's all the same for nurses. They are only accepting these midwife, aged care, critical care, mental, these ones. So as you see here, further eligibility requirement, registration, live. You need to show that you're living in Victoria. Age, nomination obligation. Basically the declaration form will say, I will live in Victoria. I will not get out of here. And the time frame, 2 weeks. Okay, now where was I here? Okay. I think they are the same. Okay, let's check it out. Yeah, they look the same. It's just basically the detail, more detail there. See, this is all the same. And finally, let's check out the designated regional area for Victoria. Now, where am I? Okay, right here. So list of postcodes. So if you're in Victoria, you will be only if you want to pick 491, that means you cannot be in Melbourne, that's pretty sure. Then you will have to be in these postcodes. Start from 3211. Okay, anything below 3210, no, I mean that's there, but the anything below 3096. Here we go. Okay, well, that's basically the Greater Melbourne region, but so I will say about one and a half hours driving away from the city of Melbourne you'll be hitting all these areas. So make sure you got to be there in order and working there in order to be nominated under subclass 491 by the state government of Victoria. So what is your thought, Mark? Now, my summary and my thoughts. Again, we can see that obviously due to the COVID, the state government from yesterday, now the day before, Western Australia until now, Victoria, they are all only looking for onshore. Now, Western Australia does give a hope of other people in the skill set, but not in Perth, not in Western Australia. They will take them. But Victoria, unfortunately, they will only take people who are already in there, living there and working there. Now, there is no work requirement like how the Western Australia's the Wasmore Schedule 1 and things differentiates. So they do provide a less requirement under the English needed. So Western Australia, you have to put into IELTS 7, otherwise they will not take it. But in Victoria, they'll take more. But again, they have different definition of that STEM skills and the very confusing target sector. But basically, it's all the new. So who is disadvantaged here? I think hospitality is very disadvantaged. There is no mention of hospitality at all. There is no mention of the finance, the accounting people at all. So these people will be very disadvantaged, and all the trades work, and also education. See, what about those teachers? What about lawyers? What about architects? Victoria won't take them anymore. Some of the engineer will fit into those digitech or the STEM skills, but some might not. For example, what about civil engineer? I don't think it does fit into any of those ones. See, so electronic will fit in the target sector, but what about mechanical engineer? What about petroleum engineer? That's a disappointment on how the government of Victoria offer for this 2021 and 22. What is your thought? Why don't you leave a comment right down below, and let's move on, and I'll see you next video. Goodbye.